Hey folks, this is Noble Rambler, and welcome to another episode of Let's Play Banished. We're using the Colonial Charter mod, version 1.6, and this is our fishing lake over here in Ramblington, where I've just got myself another cup of tea and a blueberry Costco muffin. Good stuff. Tastes good with tea too. So we're going to continue where I left off yesterday. Well, for you yesterday, for me 10 minutes ago. And actually, hopefully accomplish something this time. Let's see, how do I get this guy going again? What are we running at? Running at 2. You know, I was just kind of staring at this while I was getting ready to restart the episode. And we've waited a long time for this. What I was going to do, I wanted to know if it was more efficient to have a large area here with no obstructions, even though they had to walk a ways to go to home and store it and drop things off. But almost, we'll call this like a 98-99% availability for fish. How does that compare to several obstructions, maybe taking us down to 85 to 90% of available space, but have almost no distance to walk, so it's very efficient. So I wanted to compare the two, but it's taken so long to get this guy torn down and then rebuild it and then tear it. They're using it. Oh, you look at that. They're using it. They found a way to jump across. Well, resourceful little buggers, aren't they? We're still going to tear it down and make it look good. But what I was going to do with it, I never thought to look inside. What I was going to do with it was go ahead and build the same thing over here that I was going to build over there. We'll tear this one down. Did I never put a teardown order on that? Now wait a minute here. I thought last time I did this. Did I not? I did. It doesn't work. Oh, I'm clicking here on the building, but the footprint is actually down over here. Got to think of, vertical to this position down under the water. You got to click down here to get that to go away. Aha. Let's try that again. In fact, let's just grab from here and drag across. So it's down here, that's the problem. And I need to do it so that I'm not taking out the dock. Now he's going to go away. Alrighty. Okay, so let's just grab that so we can see it. Otherwise, I was going to rebuild over here what I was going to put over there. Then we'll have a more true test. Not just the storage, but also a couple of houses. So let's see here. And speaking of houses, I was thinking of different dock buildings that need to be built, and it just dawned on me what can go in here in place of this rice farm, which is kind of not where it belongs. In fact, I may even take this guy out and put 2 more of the reeds over here. I think we'll put the little chapel in there. What do they call that? Themes, docks. No, would that be here? That would be here. The shrine, the water shrine, probably should go in here. That would fit better. Production out here, living and what have you over there. So let's start this episode by putting in the large storage, just because I have a feeling they're going to fill this thing really fast. And this time we're going to turn it around. There's the door. And we're going to go not to where it looks correct, but to where it actually turns red. Now we know we're touching. And is there any reason to go back 1 space? I'm going to go back 1 space, just in case there's any reason to ever send a dock from here to there. What was that? Wow, there's a message I've never seen before. Larker the Packer has died of a weak heart. Interesting. There's still some surprises in this game that I've not come across. Nice. So, we've got that guy going in. There he is. So you can't click where you would think it would be. You've got to click down where the footprint is, which in this case, none of the footprint is exposed on the other side of the dock. But I don't think we need to see that. It's just going to happen. We'll wander back over here someday and see it all built. But let's do prioritize this. So that means we need to reprioritize. There it is. Need to reprioritize that other material warehouse over there, or fuel warehouse. But let's put in 2 houses. So we're back over here, there. Now which ones? These guys will house 4 people. These guys will house 5. It's probably a 3x3 and a 2x3. Yeah. Does it make that much difference? Oh, wait a minute here. Can I see that on the ground? He has a 3x4 and a 2x4. Okay. So that is, if I go to the larger size, it's the difference in squares down there is equivalent to a third one of these. Okay. So I think we'll go with the smaller ones, the shanties. There's the front door. Right there. And we're going to leave the space in case there's a reason to run a dock out this side as well. So you're going to go there, and we'll leave a space there as well. Okay. There might be a reason eventually if we ever build out here, more fishing production type buildings to grab from the storage that's right here and the storage that's over there. So we have storage 2 houses. We're going to tear this guy down. We have laborers. Hey, it's finally happening. And they're becoming students and they're being born too. Good, 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 good. So let's go to 12 builders. It'll help with this work here. The laborers empty it, but I'm pretty sure the builders actually tear it down. They do the demolishing. So that takes care of that. So what I wanted to do was to reprioritize things. So let's tell them to... We never canceled that, did we? Okay, let's do that first. Remove structure. There it goes. So now we're going to prioritize. Iron is low. We're at the 250 mark again. Prioritize this guy. Always hard to tell what is what. Now, something over here that needs to be done. But before that, we want this done. But before that, we want... Never mind. It's in. No, it's not. Just the shell is in. We want this done. Okay. So this guy has 4 over there. Okay. So when that's done, we still have to make the decision on how we're going to get more storage out here. I think that's the answer. I just don't know where to put new grapes. We are in late autumn. When that gets down to 0, that's the time to delete it, if that's the one we're going to delete. Gotta think about that. This was the extra mulberries. Okay. Is there anywhere else to put grapes in? Or do we just not do it? You know, I think I'm going to not do it. Let's take the grapes out. That'll be one of the crops we'll put into the new orchard area in the northern agriculture zone. And we'll put a winery near that. We'll purposely put 2 wineries in. Get a couple of grape orchards and a winery, another winery, and 4 raspberry farms. And we'll see what we can kick out of those just for fun. But I think this is going to go away. We'll let that get down to near 0. And we will put in another magazine. Let's think about that. Does he fit? That is this guy. He does fit between the roads. Okay. And we would turn him... What would he benefit the most? Pretty soon this guy's going to be full. I could probably just need to see what's inside these guys. Let's think about that. We're still running slow enough. What is actually in these? Bone meal is. Alright, what do you do with bone meal? Wool is over here. Is there any way to draw any of this stuff out? We don't have a cart or a stall for any of these sort of things, do we? We do have dry goods, but no, the quantities over there in those carts is very little. So that won't help. You are grapes. You're a town arrival. Okay. We could start using wool much more, but wool and leather. Okay. Leather. We could do without the hunters completely. I forgot about it. We're making deer over here. We got plenty of leather coming in. Okay. Hunters, let's shut you down. Of course, that's going to free up some houses over there, which means our coal miners clear over here are going to be walking all the way over there because that's where the empty houses are going to be. But is there any way to start using these things in mass quantity somehow to draw it out of this area? I don't think there is. I mean, I could go and build 5 clothiers, but I don't know if that's the answer. So what is the answer? How do we get some of the stuff out of here? We are storing the dry goods here as well. I'm seeing a lot of those items in here. Bone meal, feathers, linen, yeah. So we have some mulberry leaves over here, some olives over here, cotton. I don't know how to force this to empty. If I were to mess up all of my labor for a long time and just shut these things down and make them start to empty and then turn it back on, they're just going to max this guy out. So I'll have to shut him down too and get all 5 of them done, and then we're just going to max out. No, don't do that. There. Then we're just going to max out all the rest of these guys as they try to dump them down. So we're not actually helping ourselves. We really need more storage. So we could take out 1 crop. There's an alternative. Too bad it isn't over here, though. I need these guys to be able to get to something easy. And that's what I'm struggling with. The crop should be about the same size as the orchard, so the magazine should fit right there just as well. We will be sacrificing 1,000 food. This was a bad year. Wow. 1,000 food versus 2,000 food. Even more. So I guess if we're going to tear one down, it's going to be one of these. So that makes more sense. I'm glad I didn't put in a cut order yet. It's early winter. We have a little bit more time to think about it. Don't want to take out a plantation. We're using all of these. What are we doing right now? Cottons, hemps, bamboos. How are we doing on cotton? 1,800. We had flax. 7,000. Okay, so we don't need to switch back to flax for a long, long time. Okay. That's carrots for our... What was it? Carrot soup? No. Canned carrots. So, can we wipe out a carrot? Yeah. 11,000. We can wipe out a carrot field just fine. Let's just do that. And let's get at least a magazine going in. Whether or not we want a magazine... Yeah, let's do a magazine and a dry goods. We'll mix the two up. So, storage, magazine at this end. Facing where? I mean, he's going to benefit everything else around him, too. Carrots are in this area as well as probably over there. I don't remember now. So, these guys are still going to walk down this road to the magazine. These guys over here are going to want to drop off at the magazine. You see that happening right here. Are they able to pass through the wall? Let's watch this traffic pattern here. They are. Okay. So while you don't want the door blocked, it doesn't have to be in a specific place. They are able to path through the walls. Kind of odd, but they are able to. So it doesn't really matter which way I aim this one. That's what I was trying to establish there. So in that case, we don't actually fit. We don't. Can we move anything? Not really. And I don't know if I want wall against wall. I don't know if that's where the pathing issues start to come in. Even though the door's here, you can see they want to pass right through this wall. So if I were to block this with something, even these trees may eventually become an issue of the bug that has been talked about that's happened with the magazines in the past. I haven't experienced any of that here, but it doesn't mean that I haven't just been fortunate. So, I cannot put a magazine here. And there's still time to turn this farm back on. In fact, that's what this guy is right here. We have an extra farmer. So, where else could we put it? I need width. So taking out one of these two paths is not going to do me any good. Well, I think the farm goes right back in. And while we're at it, we'll put in the bigger farm. We had an extra space here. We'll go ahead and do that. And carrots was a crop that worked really well, right? Carrots, 90 degrees, 2 months. Yeah. So we could experiment with that. So farm, put you in. You're going to be a full 170, which works for a 2-month crop. Okay. So carrots, oh, I just saw them right there. And 50, oh, there we go. 53, 53. Yep. We'll go down one and back up, and that satisfies that. Alright, so that's back up and running again, and we still have to decide what's going to happen here. I hate to spend a whole 30 minutes of this episode making this decision, but I hate wiping out a crop field or an orchard. But otherwise, here's the problem. We're out of room, so they just drop off the stuff. We got to make this happen. Alright, this goes away. Boom. And storage, magazine, and you're going to be at this end, like so. And dry goods is going to be at this end. And are we going to do two? We could. Now, we're never going to put a double road in there. So that could be there. Let me try and memorize that spot there. Yeah, can I put them in sideways? So I'm thinking like so, right there. And we'll turn this one to face the other direction. And what do you think? Just a generic stockpile in the middle just to catch random things that are in the area? That could work. Stockpile, generic. Wow, there's really no space there. Okay, so that just needs to be a pathway. So they can path around it easy. Let's see, right there, we'll put in this guy for now, until we go through and stone all of this stuff. Now, the question is, do we put a second magazine in? I think what we could do for the moment is just leave the space unused for anything else. Did I go past? I think I did. Yeah. So we've got the ability to drop in another magazine or some kind of a production building that's needed right there. That's, yeah, it probably should be kind of a high priority, huh? One of these should be a high priority. Let's do that. We have the magazine still for all of this stuff, but specifically right here is where we're hurting. So we'll prioritize this one. Alright, so with that, the next issue besides getting back to the fish, and it needed to be dealt with from last time, was pewterware. We have been thinking about it for a long time now. We have 2,500 copper ore. Laborers are still kind of hurting. Tin ore. Tin ore, 3,000. So roughly the same. And we still have room to increase miners a little bit in here. No, we're almost maxed. Okay. We got this one torn out. That's right. We built both of these. So lots of room in there. In fact, we do have lots of room. Okay. What makes the pewter? And then I believe a second building makes a pewter where? So let's think this through here. I would think smithing. Yeah. So we've got the metalsmith. So that makes our pewterware and silverware and copperware and tinware and canteens. So some kind of a forge. You make pewter. Okay. So we need a second forge so that he can continue making tin, which is doing what? Lots and lots of tin. We could put more tinneries in and take even more advantage of that. What's our big question marks here? I thought we got the farmers. No, we took out the two. We took out the orchard. That's right. So farmers down. Okay. And another big round of laborers going in. And there's still 100 in school. Oh, this is working really well. Now, if we could just get the pace up a little bit to offset the amount of deaths that are happening and actually build here. There's, someone else just died. Probably never going to. Probably always going to have, you know, that constant in and out now. At the beginning of the game it's predictable. Go for, oh, I don't know, 30 years, maybe 40, and then it all starts dying off. But now we're so random. Different times we built houses, different times that the houses have vacated and new families have moved in. There's not been clear cycles anymore. So another one of these guys and a metalsmith. I think that is the plan. So where does he go? He's a good sized building. He could fit right in here. Okay. I think I like that. There's probably no rhyme or reason of where he's going to draw from, so let's aim him that direction so he's got access to the copper mine, the copper and tin, and the warehouses. No, he needs pewter. So it's wherever the pewter's going to store. Well, that's still probably going to work. Okay, so we need to keep an eye on him. And another forge. Foundry. Is he the... Yeah, he's the one. So what's the forge do? Does the same thing. Okay. I'm hoping that there isn't a difference in the sense of... See, how do we want the roads to work? In the sense of one works more efficient than another one. We have a road popping right through there. It'd be nice to continue it, but I'm not sure we're going to be able to. Now let's put them on the water. I think that would just work better. Something like that. Can he go in one? No. Well, we've probably had another trader sitting there for a long time, haven't we? Probably lost him. Yeah, let's do that. We'll do that. So we'll keep an eye on him as well. Don't really have the employees to adequately run them yet, but yeah, we'll get there. 1, 2, and 3. Yep, they're all patiently waiting for us, honking their horns. Alright, I see jade statues. I would buy jade if it was available, but not the statues. All the statues are here. Gemstones, rough. We're not set up to do anything with those yet. Silk cocoons. We gotta check to see how our silk industry is doing. Now that we have the... Well, I don't know if the next orchard of mulberries have actually started producing yet. Copperware, barrels, flax. I don't see anything. No silverware or pewterware. Now, we don't need anything here. Barrels. We're not using barrels yet. So, dismiss. Oh, it just dawned on me. There is a way to clear out those, now that we've taken out the grapes. We could go through and just sell a whole bunch of stuff. at the traders, intentionally targeting which items to sell the most of, like all the bone meal. That would clear up some space all over the city. That's an interesting idea. Have to keep that one and stick a pin in that maybe next time or in between. Anyway, not dealing with seeds. Dismiss. And alright, tools are fine. Lumber's fine. Lamp oil we've got oodles of now. Clay and sand, I'm assuming we're in good shape. For over 2,000 we're good. Sand, 3,700, so we've almost doubled our sand output. Clay is down in here. CL, there you are, 23. So clay is holding and sand is still growing, even though we went through and added more workers. We went to 2 and 2. I wonder if we really did that much by adding those. You know, I think I'm going to do something else here. Let's... glass. I'm not seeing it. So you're here? There. What if we were to double these guys? Can I double that there? I can't. But I can do something like that. And that. That's not a good indicator. Can't tell where he ends. There he is. Right there. And a space. Now if I do it there, now we'll do the space. Okay. So let's pop these guys, but 1 in each, and see if that does a better job than 2 in 1. So we'll see that for next time too. Back to our trader. Right there. So clay and sand are fine. Lamp oils, silver ores, we'll grab that whenever we see it. It's not that expensive. Build up a little bit so we finally do start making things out of silver. We'll already have a little bit of a surplus going on there. Charcoal and firewood and copper. Okay. Don't need copper for pewterware. We need copper ore. We could use copper for copperware, but don't have a use for that at the moment. I believe that would be used. There we go. I lost them, didn't I? Yeah. I believe that would be used right here. No. Here. Copperware right there. Yeah. Okay. So, one more time. All I grabbed was the silver ore. So 20 of those. And just to make it easy, 60 of these. Alright. Dismiss and trade. Trade and dismiss. So, that is being torn down. This guy is still sitting here because we were just needing to remember to go back to that area. This fuel storage is that guy, okay? While I'm thinking of it, how are we doing over here? What are you guys? Question marks because we have nobody employing them. Okay. These guys are... Foresters are maxed out still, right? Yeah. Have we... We have not built these yet. Okay. 8 laborers, 12 builders. Don't know when it's going to be that we'll actually be able to see that happen. Same thing here. So those are all notes for next episode. Let's grab this guy as a reminder also for next episode. When these guys happen. Alright. Country home. 2 out of 3 builders are over here. So we're just kind of finishing up these over here. I did want to go through and upgrade these. So, goes from 4 residents up to 5 and more warmth. Goes to 6 and 6. What's the difference? Nice townhouse, fancy townhouse. Provides housing for 6, more warmth, and larger inventory. I'm not seeing a difference. I don't see any more benefit between the two. So we'll just do that and that. We're saving, okay. So that unfortunately evicts some people who moved into here. Yep, moved right into there. That's what that's for. Of course, now they're going to have to bring all their goods over there. So that's going to wipe out some efficiency for a while. Did we use those buildings anywhere else? We've got a surplus right now in peoples and housing and what have you. Plenty of town halls. We're not dealing with nomads. Hopefully there'll be no disasters anytime soon. Let's go ahead and do some upgrading. Of course, I say that and realize we have so few builders. Yeah, that's true. Alright, we'll have to wait. But I'm sure that there are some houses somewhere that really could use some upgrading. Teship Stormbringer wrote in a couple, oh, well, for me a day ago, but for you guys a couple episodes ago, to remind me about these guys here. I guess I didn't do all of them. So we have upgraded some of these. No, I only did the one. Oh, here's another one over here. No, that's storage. So I only upgraded one of them. I see. I thought I did them all. So I did the one so we could see what it looked like. And then, every time I've seen one of these, it has been this shape. I've never upgraded one of these to see if there's a difference. Though I'm guessing it's going to be that shape. Okay. So you can get different models of the base model. But the upgraded one apparently is always going to look the same. Of course, that might not be true. That might just be the one picture they chose to use for this option. Let's find out. That's going to go here too. Okay. So we'll try to keep an eye on that one. And he is most likely going to go live here. The Coaching Inn. Let's see if that's true. Still 2 people. Are they going to move in somewhere else? You know what we could do? Let's pop through some of these and see if there's any singles. And if we evict a single successfully, it just may be that one of these families can move back in. So, what do I want here? I want this guy. There we go. One, and he's already found a home somewhere. And who moved in? So, oh, there's a whole family that moved in. Alright. Of course, they were all miners and stall vendors, so they're all stonecutters, so they're all going to have to change their profession now. Who else lives can we, disrupt and uproot? Let's see here. This one did those. Alright, we'll turn these guys off. So, out over here, we can check on... There you go. You are going to find a new home somewhere, and you didn't go into the Coaching Inn. Alright. And... oh, well, wait a moment. See who moves in there. One of these a house? That one is. And over here, we've got at least 8 houses. Moved right back in. So that didn't help, because apparently all the rest of our singles right now are female. Okay. So that's not going to do us any good now. I just see what I thought I did. So the hardwood is filling, and the logs are filling as well. Hardwood, so we could get rid of these, and they'll move over into the logs. Yeah, let's do that. It's going to have to be done eventually anyway. Not doing any good out here where there's a hardwood forester and log stockpiles, or wood stockpiles. Alright, so we need to do what now? The lake, no improvements yet. We're starting to get there though. We're actually starting to work on them. We were tearing out that. That's the wrong one. Boy, it's hard to get the right footprint. Alright, let's do that again. I want this guy to go away. There we go. Alright, you are a rice worker. No, you are a farmer? What are you? A dock? Alright, let's look at the symbol. Dock farmer? I'm going to guess dock is the first word. Dock worker. There we go. Okay. So, dock worker, you are now a laborer. And with that, I think most of the loose ends are tied up. What I'd like to do, well, what I'd like to do is make some room. Let's do a little thinning in here. So I want to start, not going to do a whole lot, just kind of little pieces here and there, especially where we're going to be working soon. And yeah, both sides of this roadway too. The roadway in here? We don't. But we'll do that. In there too. I think I've been in here. Do some down at this end. Anyway, I want to get in here and get some more buildings into our town. That's right, I was going to take these out. Well, let's put that order in as well. All of you are gone. That's going to disrupt some things. But they'll all move into here and they'll be fine. And we'll have more houses popping in. They'll grab them. Buildings that would look good in a town. Let's start really thinking about this. Now, we could, even if they're meant for something else, if the storage, we call this a storage barn, looked great, I would use it, even though it's not really, something you would probably have. Although you would have warehouses inside of a town, but I'm looking for things that look right, even if the use is odd. We could have just one employee instead of maxing it out. He can be very inefficient. That's fine. But let's get some interesting looking things in here. So schools and government buildings. So that stuff, probably not. So none of these. Well, what's the apothecary look like? That's still more of a country look. Not quite what I'm wanting. So food. What do we have in here that would work well inside of a town? Don't think any of these would. The dairy, oil press, windmills, the bakery. No. This looks much better for a bakery. That's what I'm looking for. A storefront, a stall, something that looks like it fits. And then a nice pathway leading up to it. So the preservist, no. So none of these are going to look good. Alright, so you are transparent. You're the canneries. No, you're not. There we are. And that looks kind of odd. That's more industrial than commercial. Butchers, no. No. Farm. None of these, and none of those. And you are a water tower. Now you would work somewhere in here. That probably should be done. I'm not sure exactly where. But that would probably work somewhere in town. Alright, next category. Now, you're going to strip every tree out of our town. Not going to do foresters. Anything over here that's unusual but would work? No. No. And you are the shore house. No. Alright, so I think we are into here. So the tailor. Let's go take a peek at the clothier again. Yes, this works. So let's put a tailor in next to the blacksmith. Then we'll upgrade it into the clothier, and that will look good. So we're right over here. We need to bring this road through. You are going to be brick, and that's right, we need to check the brick road over by the coal mine and see if that changed by itself. It did not, so we are going to have to tear it out. Okay, so let's get that going. That's this one. We're going to remove every road from here to here, including that. So after that removes, now there's nothing else we affected. No. Okay. So after that removes, then we'll put in more of a either a white stone or a mossy stone. But we'll leave the brick for our main city here. I was down here. And are we running? No, there we are. Okay, so Taylor will look good in here. Everything is back at this level because we were wondering if we were going to be putting walls and such in here. I'm not certain that we will. Can this be a little bit different? Let's do a little bit closer for that one. Okay, the Taylor, and we don't need to watch that one run. We'll come in here eventually and do any more upgrades that we need to. Although, something to think about. Would a conservatory work good on the side of this building? Well, the stalls work their way all the way back, so we'd have to go on the back wall. And that could work. We could do that. Where am I? Right in here. Let's think about that. The back wall. If we rotated him facing this way, he could go in between. There's an idea. So, Taylor, and facing that way. Right there. And a conservatory, dare I put it on right now? Well, we're taking these guys out. Maybe that would be helpful. I just hope it looked like the entire wall was available as far as appearance. So let's do that now. So that is row houses, conservatory. Though I don't know what the roof's going to look like. Though I think it will always be the same. Right here. So F. So the black one. Yeah, it's just the two right now. Okay. So R, it goes that way. Always go too far over here. There we are. So would he look best right here? We can almost do two of them on this one. Look at that. We could. Let's do that. We'll leave a space in the front, and we'll put two of them right there. Okay, so there's two more houses snuck in, real close to the jobs, which is important. All right, that's the second trader that's been in, and I'm sure he's going to be showing up here real soon. And I'm almost running out of time again, aren't I? Pigs, deer, leghorn, dismiss, and hardwood. Pewter, coke, fuel, copper pipes, lumber, logs. No stone, right? No stone. Stone we could really use right now. Hey, we've got some laborers up there. Ooh, okay. Gonna do two more things then before we call this one an episode. Need 2,400 real quick. Food is at 63. We're actually starting to lose some food, so it's time to get those gatherers back in. We've got, well, that's the third thing we need to do. We need to check the herb plantation. Let's do all the herbs. No, let's do 500 and 600. Trade, dismiss. Alright, let's check the herbs. Let's put in 2 joiners real quick. And here we go. What have we been doing? We have 2 farmers working it, and we're bringing in only 325. That is so odd. I really expected to be doing more. That is odd. I'll do that. And we bought the logs, both kinds. And I wanted to get more people employed here, and I need to get the gatherers up and running again. So let's distribute 25 labor. So gatherers, Yeah, let's put all 12 of these guys back in and get that going. That's probably enough to bring back our food and level us back off again back there at the 70 to 90 range or whatever that was. 70 to 90? It was 70 to 90. I was saying earlier it was a 30,000 swing, but it's actually, because I was seeing the 69, 60 to 90, but it's actually a 20,000 swing. Okay. So a little correction there on my part. Joiners. And then I think we're going to call this one done. So you are artisans. Another regular furniture joiner. And any particular place to draw from. You are making furniture which is a dry good. Is that right? There's our other trader. Grab that chart here. I want to say it's a dry good. Dry goods. I'm not seeing the word furniture anywhere in here. Huh. Nope, you guys have to tell me what storage we need for these. Well, okay, can we figure it out? Distribution barn has no furniture. Materials has furniture. Your material. Okay. We put the other material in. Alright, that's what I needed to know. So, these guys can face this direction, can dump off here, and we can put another logging cart over here to feed them, so they're not stealing from all the logs that we're grabbing over here that all these other ones are grabbing too. So, there, facing out. Pop in one in case we need to double that road up. I think it is already doubled. Alright, we'll do that. And we'll leave a space in there. Okay, so you guys are going to build. You're going to drop off your goods there. And you need to get your goods from market cart logs. Exactly where, I don't know. The road is there. Right in between? We'll just do that blindly. We can move it again later if we need to. Alright. With that, we'll take a quick peek over here. Don't need any of that. That was simple. We need to call this one done. We got plenty of a to-do list already building up here. The one we're going to forget about is probably here. So we'll leave it parked right there as a reminder of what we were doing. And yeah, I think this is good. We'll call this one done. This has been Noble Rambler. Thank you guys for watching. And hit the like and subscribe if you would. I really appreciate it. I will talk to you later. Bye-bye, folks.